Hi, everyone. I want to begin with a question. Have you ever noticed that before anything exists in your physical world, from the phone in your hand to the bank account balance you see, it first had to exist as a flicker of thought in someone's mind? This is not a coincidence. It is the first and most powerful of the universal laws, the law of mentalism. The Kabbalion tells us that the all is mind, the universe is mental. But what does this actually mean for you, specifically regarding your wealth and your future? It means that the reality you are currently living in is nothing more than a localized reflection of your dominant mental state. If you feel stuck, it's likely because you've been trying to change the effect, the money, the job, the relationships, without changing the cause, which is the mind itself. In the science of Dr. Joe Dispenza, we learn that to create a new destiny, you must move beyond the physical world and enter the realm of pure consciousness, the quantum field. This field is the universal mind that the ancients spoke of, and it is the source code of all matter. In this video, we are going to dive deep into how your brain, specifically your frontal lobe, functions as the interface for this law. I'm going to show you why your mental rehearsals are not just imagination, but a biological act of rewriting your neural architecture. When you master the law of mentalism, you stop being a victim of what you see and start becoming the architect of what you perceive. You are about to discover that your mind is not in your body is in your mind. Let's unlock the source code. If you are ready to stop fighting with matter and start creating from the field of infinite mind, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. This is the first deep dive of our series, and you won't want to miss a single law. Help us grow this channel by joining our community of conscious creators today. To master the law of mentalism, you must study the principles of the mind, both ancient and modern. I have placed the links for the Kabbalion and the essential books by Dr. Joe Dispenza in the first pinned comment below. These resources are the blueprints you need to shift your consciousness and reprogram your biological reality. Check them out to deepen your practice. 1. The quantum mind, the universe as information. To truly master your life, you must first accept a premise that defies everything your physical senses tell you. The universe is not made of matter, it is made of mind. The first Hermetic principle, the law of mentalism, states that the all is mind, the universe is mental. This ancient teaching is no longer just a philosophical idea, it is the very foundation of modern quantum physics. When we look deep into the structure of an atom, we don't find solid things. We find energy, waves of probability, and ultimately information. In the quantum field, matter exists only as a potential until an observer, a mind, interacts with it. This is what scientists call the collapse of the wave function. Dr. Joe Dispenza builds his entire methodology on this law. He teaches that to create a new reality, you must first move beyond your current environment, your physical body, and the predictable movement of linear time. You must become no body, no thing, nowhere, in no time. Why? Because in that state, you have detached from the effect, the material world, and returned to the cause, the universal mind. Most people spend their lives trying to change matter with matter. They try to change their wealth by working harder, or their health by just taking a pill, without ever addressing the mental blueprint that is projecting that reality. If the universe is mental, then your primary tool for creation is your consciousness. Every thought you think is a ripple in the fabric of the all. However, not all thoughts are created equal. Most of our thoughts are just white noise, rehashed memories of the past that reinforce our current limited identity. To access the source code of reality, you must learn to focus your consciousness into a laser-like beam of intentionality. This is what the ancients meant by the all is mind.
When you enter the quantum field through deep meditation, you are essentially logging into the operating system of the universe. You are stepping out of the program and becoming the programmer. In this state of pure awareness, you realize that you are not a separate entity struggling against a hostile world. You are an individualized expression of the universal mind, possessing the same creative qualities as the field itself. If the field is infinite, then the only thing limiting your manifestation is the boundary of your own mental concepts. Your wealth is not limited by the economy, it is limited by your mental container. The law of mentalism teaches us that the world is a reflection. If you don't like the reflection in the mirror, you don't try to fix the mirror, you change the mind that is standing in front of it. This is the most liberating truth you can ever learn. Nothing is fixed. Everything is in a state of flux, waiting for a mind to give it form and direction. But how do we practically bridge the gap between a thought and physical matter? How does the brain translate these abstract quantum potentials into a tangible bank account or a healed body? This process is not magic. It is a biological function of your brain's evolution. To understand the law of mentalism in action, we must look at the CEO of your nervous system, the mechanism that turns mind into matter.
We have been conditioned to believe that our thoughts are inside our heads and the world is outside. The law of mentalism shatters this duality. If the universe is mental, then there is no inside or outside. There is only a continuous field of consciousness that you are constantly shaping with your dominant mental images. Your current life is simply the physical printout of your mental state over the last several years. If you want a new printout, you must change the source code at the level of the mind. This requires a radical level of self-responsibility. You can no longer blame your parents, your boss, or the government for your circumstances, because your mind is the primary cause. As you begin to align your individual mind with the universal mind, you will notice that the coincidences in your life start to increase. This is the universe responding to its own nature, mentalism in action. The goal of our work is to become so proficient at mentalism that our inner world becomes more real to us than the outer world. When you achieve this, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match your vision. You are moving from being a player in the game of life to being the architect of the game itself. The keys to the kingdom are within your own consciousness. In the next section, we will explore exactly how your brain facilitates this process, turning the law of mentalism into a biological reality through the power of the frontal lobe.
2. The frontal lobe as the creator, the CEO of reality. If the universe is mental, as the first Hermetic law states, then we must have a biological mechanism that allows us to interface with this universal mind. In the human body, that interface is the frontal lobe. Dr. Joe Dispenza often refers to the frontal lobe as the CEO, or the conductor of the brain. From a Hermetic perspective, this part of your brain is the throne of the master architect. It is the physical organ that allows you to apply the law of mentalism with conscious intent. The frontal lobe makes up nearly 40% of the human brain, a significantly higher percentage than in any other species. This is the biological gift that allows us to move beyond instinctive behavior and into conscious creation. When you decide to manifest wealth or a new life, the frontal lobe performs 3 critical functions that mirror the law of mentalism: intention, selection, and silencing. First, the frontal lobe allows you to hold a clear intention. While the rest of the brain is busy processing the old programs of the past, the frontal lobe can look into the quantum field and imagine a future that hasn't happened yet. This is the mental beginning of all creation. Second, it acts as the selector. In the infinite sea of quantum possibilities, the frontal lobe focuses its attention on one specific potential, the image of you being wealthy, healthy, and free. By focusing on this single thought, you are using the law of mentalism to collapse the wave function of that specific reality. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is silencing. When the frontal lobe is fully engaged in a creative vision, it lowers the volume on the rest of the brain. It silences the sensory input from the body and the environment. This is how you become no body, no thing, nowhere. Image. A brain highlighting the frontal lobe, showing neural pathways connecting to a glowing grid representing the quantum field. This is where the law of mentalism becomes a biological act. Through a process called mental rehearsal, you can use your frontal lobe to install the neural hardware of your future before it manifests in the physical world. Neuroscience has proven that the brain does not know the difference between an actual experience in the external world and an experience created by thought alone in the internal world. When you sit in meditation and mentally rehearse your new life of abundance with high intensity, your frontal lobe begins to fire and wire new neural connections. You are literally making your brain look like the experience has already happened. You are applying the law of mentalism to change your physical blueprint. If you keep repeating this process, the brain starts to accept the mental image as the primary reality. This is the point where the source code is successfully rewritten. This explains why people who master their internal world eventually see their external world change. Their brain is no longer a record of the past, it has become a map of the future.
However, this process requires what Dr. Joe calls metacognition, the ability to observe your thoughts. To be a master of mentalism, you must become the observer of the program, not the program itself. Most people fail because their CEO is on vacation. They are not using their frontal lobe to create. They are letting their limbic system, the emotional brain of the past, run the show. When you react to a bill with fear or to a lack of money with frustration, you are handing the creative power of mentalism over to your past memories. You are using the universal mind to create more of what you already have. The master of mentalism uses the frontal lobe to veto the old thoughts. When a thought of, "I can't afford this," arises, the conscious creator recognizes it as a legacy program from the old self and chooses a different mental image instead. This is the true meaning of the all is mind. You are the all of your own personal universe. By taking control of the frontal lobe, you are reclaiming your seat on the throne of creation. You are no longer a victim of your biology. You are using your biology to transcend the material plane. You are using the source code to command the cells of your body and the atoms of the field to align with your vision. The law of mentalism states that the universe is mental, but to make that mind stuff stick to your physical reality, you must overcome the resistance of the body's old chemical addictions, which we will explore in the next block. Remember, your frontal lobe is the architect's office. The plans you draw there, if held with enough focus and clarity, are the exact blueprints that the law of correspondence will use to build your physical life. You are moving from thinking about your future to becoming your future at a neurological level. This is the highest expression of the law of mentalism in the human experience. 3. Hacking the subconscious blueprint. Beyond thinking to being. The greatest obstacle to mastering the law of mentalism is not the lack of intellectual knowledge, but the biological gap between what you know consciously and what you believe subconsciously. While the Kabbalion tells us the all is mind, we must understand that for the human being, the body has literally become the mind. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that by the time we reach adulthood, approximately 95% of who we are is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, and unconscious habits. These are not just thoughts, they are hardwired neural pathways and chemical dependencies stored in the body and the cerebellum. This subconscious blueprint acts as an autonomous operating system that often contradicts your conscious desires for wealth and success. You may consciously think, "I am a magnet for abundance," applying the law of mentalism at the surface level. However, if your body is still chemically conditioned to the frequency of unworthiness or fear of loss, you are experiencing a state of internal incoherence. The conscious mind, the 5%, is trying to steer the ship, while the subconscious mind, the 95%, is still following the old map of scarcity. To truly hack this blueprint, you must understand the analytical mind. Think of the analytical mind as a filter or a firewall that sits between the conscious and the subconscious. Its job is to protect your current identity. When you have a new thought about being a millionaire, the analytical mind compares it to your current bank account and says, "This isn't true." It rejects the new mental seed before it can ever reach the fertile soil of the subconscious. This is why simple affirmations often fail. They are bouncing off the firewall. To bypass this, you must shift your brainwaves. Most of our waking life is spent in high beta waves, where the analytical mind is most active and judgmental. To master mentalism, you must move into alpha and theta waves. In these slower states, the firewall drops. You gain access to the operating system, the place where your biological wealth blueprint is stored. In the theta state, the body is asleep, but the mind is awake. This is the magic window where you can use the law of mentalism to perform subconscious reprogramming. You are no longer thinking about wealth, you are installing the frequency of wealth directly into your cellular memory. You are teaching your body chemically what your mind has envisioned. The subconscious mind is purely associative and emotional. It doesn't care about logic, it cares about the feeling of the thought. Therefore, the master of mentalism doesn't just visualize a number on a screen. They use the frontal lobe to create a mental scenario so vivid that the body begins to release the chemistry of gratitude. Since gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership, you are signaling to your body that the wealth has already happened. This is how you hack the blueprint. You are effectively lying to your body until the body believes it is the truth. You are overriding the physical evidence of your environment with the superior reality of your mind. When the body and the mind are in alignment, when the 95% agrees with the 5%, you become a super coherent creator. The master of mentalism knows that the body must be retaught chemically every single day. Every time you catch yourself in a subconscious habit, like the unconscious impulse to worry about a bill, you must interrupt that pattern immediately. That worry is the old mind trying to reassert its dominance. By using a veto in that moment, you are asserting the law of mentalism. You are choosing to stay in the mind of the future rather than the body of the past. The law of mentalism demands total congruence. Your brain must hold the vision, the masculine seed, and your body must feel the emotion, the feminine soil. When these two minds become one, the universal mind, the quantum field, receives a clear, undistorted signal. There is no longer a split in your energy. You are no longer a person trying to manifest money. You are a person whose subconscious identity is wealth. This transition from trying to being is the ultimate application of the first Hermetic law. When your subconscious blueprint is rewritten, the law of correspondence, which we will cover next, ensures that your external reality has no choice but to reorganize. The mirror of your life must reflect the new image you have installed in the source code of your subconscious. You are moving from the exhausting effort of doing to the magnetic ease of being. In this state, your mind is no longer a victim of your past. It is the sovereign ruler of your future. 4. The master of the inner world, architecting the future. What I discovered when I began integrating the Law of Mentalism with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work changed my entire perception of what wealth actually is. I realized that wealth is not a number, it is a mental degree. If the universe is mental, then the only thing preventing you from living your dream life is the boundary of your own mental architecture. You are the architect, the builder, and the resident of your internal world. To become the master of the inner world, you must adopt the role of the expert narrator of your own life. Most people are passive observers. They let their environment tell them what to think. If the news says there's a recession, they think scarcity. If the bank account is low, they think lack. They are letting the 3D world, the world of effects, dictate the state of their mind. The master does the opposite. The master understands that the 3D world is just the after-image of past mental states. To change the future, you must be willing to ignore the evidence of your senses. You must be so invested in your internal mental creation that it becomes more real to you than the world outside. This is the ultimate test of the Law of Mentalism. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this being defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past. When you achieve this, you are no longer reacting, you are commanding. You are using your frontal lobe to hold the high-frequency source code of abundance, even when the external mirror is still reflecting the old image. This stability is what forces the quantum field to collapse into a new material form. I have seen this in my own practice. The moment I truly internalized the feeling of abundance, not as a wish, but as a mental fact, my external reality began to rearrange itself in ways that logic could not explain. Unexpected opportunities, new partnerships, and financial coincidences started to manifest. This wasn't luck. It was the principle of mentalism fulfilling its legal obligation to match the within with the without. You must understand that you are constantly broadcasting a mental signal. There is no such thing as a neutral thought. Every thought is a creative act. As you move through your day, ask yourself, am I thinking from my new identity or am I reacting from my old memory? This constant awareness is what separates the master from the masses. By mastering your inner world, you are effectively preparing the soil for all the other hermetic laws to function. You cannot have the law of correspondence work in your favor if your mental image is fractured. You cannot utilize the law of vibration if your mind is focused on the low frequency of not enough. Mentalism is the root from which all other manifestations grow. As we conclude this first deep dive into the 7 hermetic laws, I want you to make a commitment to your own mind. Stop being the effect of your life. Start being the cause. Recognize that the power to rewrite your financial destiny is not held by a bank or a boss. It is held within the 1.4 kilograms of tissue between your ears and the infinite consciousness that flows through it. You are the source code. You are the creator. You are the mind. In our next video, we will explore the law of correspondence, showing you exactly how this mental blueprint is mirrored in the physical world and how to read the signs of your manifestation as they arrive. The journey into your sovereign power has just begun. If this deep dive into the law of mentalism has shifted your perspective on how you create your wealth, make sure to subscribe and join our community. Supporting this channel helps us bring more of this high-level synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern science to the world. Let's build this legacy of abundance together. To truly bridge the gap between thinking and being, you need the right tools. I highly recommend getting your own copy of the Kybalion to study these laws daily, alongside Dr. Joe Dispenza's books for the practical biological protocols. I've placed the links for both in the first pinned comment below. Investing in your mind is the first step in the law of mentalism. The universe is mental, and now you have the key to its source code. I want to challenge you today. Spend just 10 minutes in total silence, observing your thoughts without judgment. Which old self-thoughts are still trying to run your program? Share your insights in the comments below. I read every single one.
Thank you for being here and for choosing the path of the conscious creator. I'll see you in video 2, where we will master the law of correspondence and learn how to align your outer world with your inner vision.